Check your sources. If you feel like you're behind in life, what are your sources? What are you looking at? What are you basing that conclusion on? Are you basing it on the folks you follow on Instagram? Are you basing it on your connections on Facebook or your connections on LinkedIn? Are you basing it on folks on TikTok? Maybe you started a TikTok channel and it hasn't blown up in the way that you've expected, that you've heard other people have started TikTok channels and like you're not seeing the numbers that they're seeing. What are you basing your conclusion on that you're behind? Good evening. Happy Wednesday, my winners and goal getters. Welcome back to the Getting the Win show. I am your host, Melissa T, the procrastination bully. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I am so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Normally, these shows run roughly 30 to 40 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer, but just to set your expectations if you're brand new here. So, thanks for investing these next 30 to 40 minutes with me. I appreciate you. So, the mission with this show, if you're new, is this show transforms recovering procrastinators into producers. And in recent weeks, the show has pivoted to helping recovering procrastinators get their books done. I'm speaking to authors going forward. So, folks tuning in can still get their personal development, that dose of personal development that they're so used to. But I'm speaking to authors going forward because we're living in an age where everyone's message matters. Your story matters. If your book is your luxury item that you're sitting on, that luxury item needs to be presented to the world. And I'm here to guide you to that finish line. All right. So I laid the groundwork for you just in case you're brand new. For those who have been rocking with me, thank you so much for continuing to do so. You know I love you. I love you so much. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe here on YouTube. If you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe at Getting the Win. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Threads as well at Getting the Win Show. All right. If you guys have been following me on those channels on social media, I announced that I've got an upcoming workshop the last Tuesday in April. That's going to happen at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So watch this space. I'll be sure to release that information coming up soon. But in the meantime, in this episode, I want to talk to you about the one limiting belief that I had to release to grow forward and get on my luxury item. And I want to share this to help free you up as well. Okay. So, the one limiting belief that I've been hanging on to for years and years and years, and you've likely been hanging on to this as well because of the society we live in, especially if you're someone watching from a Western culture, Europe or the United States. We have a very rigid time schedule that our culture has indoctrinated us into believing is the norm or is acceptable. So the limiting belief I had to throw away, break away from, is that I am behind in life. Type that's me in the comments if you believe that too. If you feel like you're behind in life, okay? Let's tackle this today because the truth of the matter is it's not too late, no matter where you are in life, no matter where you are. Because as Mel Robbins pointed out in a recent podcast episode that she did, and that link will be in the description, because the one thing I will never do is gatekeep. When I find something great, I'll make sure to share it with you as well. Okay. But that limiting belief truly is limiting because that will inspire you to procrastinate, which is the one thing we're fighting against. On this channel here, we fight in procrastination. I am the procrastination bully. You are not behind in life. It is not too late. Whatever it is you want to work on, God was the one who put it in your heart in the first place. Should we have procrastinated on the thing that God told us to do? No. However, we are still alive. We still have breath in our bodies. So there is still time to accomplish it. I want to start off with that. There is still time to accomplish it. You are still breathing. Our world is changing very quickly. You, hey, if you have a breath in your body, if you have access to the internet or access to a television, you see where things are going right now, economically, socially, politically, at a global level, not even just folks watching from the United States. At a global level, the world is changing very rapidly. And it's still not too late for you. You can still get that thing done because you still have breath in your body. And your mind is brilliant. Your mind is brilliant because you were created in the likeness and image of God. His brilliance is in your mind. You have his brilliance. You are resourceful. You have people and resources and things and tools and software that you have access to that can get you to that luxury item. It may take longer. It might seem more complicated for you where you are in your life right now, but that's okay. The point is, you can still get it done. No matter what generation you're in, no matter what you have access to, no matter what your financial situation is. Even if you don't have funds, you have friends. I'll say that again. Even if you don't have funds, you have friends. You have people in your network that you have access to that even if you can't directly get access to a tool or a certain person, somebody you know might be able to point you to that or connect you with it. There are people in your life who value you and value what you want to do. So it's still possible to get that thing done. And that same thing is true for me, which is why I continually beat the drum of doing that resource inventory. If you haven't done it yet, if you've been procrastinating on it, because I've been talking about that for the last couple of episodes, take time to do that. It's an eye opener. I promise you, it is an eye opener. I'm speaking from experience. When you jot down all the people that you know in your life and what they do, what they specialize in, who they have access to, the companies they work for, or the businesses that they work for, the businesses they own, if the people in your network are entrepreneurs, list all of that. List the software you have access to, the subscriptions you have, listing the skills that you've mastered already, listing the skills that you want to learn, all of those things, listing all of the things that you have already mastered, all the things you're great at, all the things that you're proficient in. You know how to do it. You haven't mastered it, but you know how to do it. Include that on the list as well. That way you're seeing everything that is available to you in real time in front of your eyes. And you can see that it is not too late. You can, in fact, do this thing. You can, in fact, do this thing. What we establish as too late or being behind is social conditioning, personal experience. So I'm here in the United States, right? So in the US, the current standard is to this day, as of this recording, by your 20s, you have to have a trade or already be gainfully employed. You should already know what you're doing, right? In terms of being gainfully employed. By your 30s, you should have started a family, right? You should have gotten married and had kids, right? By your 40s, you're well established, your kids are in school, you should be good to go. You should own your first home by then. By your 50s, supposedly midlife crisis, you're supposed to be coming across that. 50s, start to get into empty nesting. 60s, particularly 65, between 65 and 67, you retire. And then 65 and up, you're just aging. You're basically relaxing and ultimately living to die. That is the current timetable in US society. Let's think about where we are in 2025. And you may hear all the noise on the internet and in the news and in the arena of books as well. This sort of collective complaint about the Gen Z generation, Gen Alpha that's coming up right now, and to a lesser extent at this point, millennials too. There's this complaint among business owners and employers that millennial and Gen Z and Gen Alpha are difficult to employ. They're difficult to retain. When the truth of the matter is, times have shifted dramatically, not only in the US, but in the world. We had a whole pandemic, y'all. Remember? We had an entire pandemic in which roughly 2 years involved us being sequestered when we were previously accustomed to going into a workplace every single day, roughly 5 days a week, sometimes six, depending on the job that you had, sometimes seven, depending on whether or not resting is a core value for you or if you have any spiritual worldviews that you follow. But we were so accustomed to going into a job, being around one community of people on the job, and then being in our personal community at home with our family. The pandemic shattered that, completely exploded it, which then revolutionized the entire work model as we knew it. We went from only in person at all times to work from home exclusively at all times because we had to be sequestered, we had to be quarantined, to a hybrid model. And for the most part, companies were okay with that. And then within the last year or so, companies began to move towards requiring their employees to come back into work exclusively in person. Hot take here, just warning you. This is just my personal opinion. I have no research to back this up. But my hot take is that remote work model isn't going anywhere. I don't think we'll ever be able to fully phase that out because now we as a culture, especially the US, have become used to half working at home and half working in the workplace. And some people were far more inventive with it. Even though it was remote work, you don't literally have to work from home. Some people literally traveled and still got their work done. And there were some employers who had a completely hands-off approach, didn't care. They gave their employees the freedom to travel wherever. As long as you accomplish the task that I entrusted to you, do what you're doing. I don't really care. The company is getting what it needs from you. That's fine. There are some employers that are like that, some business owners that are like that. Others have demanded that their employees come back full time, and there's been pushback. So my hot take is I don't know that the hybrid work model will ever fully be phased out. In the same way that AI is now a norm in our lives, it's not going anywhere. In the same way we experienced the internet boom in the late 90s, early 2000s, and the internet is now an indelible part of our lives. It's not going anywhere. At this point, we can't even operate without it. We are a globalized world where commerce is concerned. We're globalized. All countries are interconnected because of the internet. Companies source materials from different countries. Companies source people from different countries. Virtual assistants can be in the Philippines, they can be in India, they can be in Pakistan, they can be in the Caribbean. The internet is what brought us together where business is concerned. So, in the same way that those shifts have become a permanent part of our being, of our existence, of our culture, the advent of AI is permanently changing the way that we work, permanently changing even the commercials we now see. If you're someone who watches YouTube often, you've already seen it. Roughly 80% of the ads we're watching now are already AI ads. Already. And AI is still in its infancy right now. At the consumer level, AI is still relatively new. It's not going anywhere though. And because it's revolutionizing the way that we work, the way that we consume media, it's going to impact our timeline as well as we go through life. because AI is intended as a tool to save time. It's intended as a productivity tool. And when used correctly, it's wonderful. It's very helpful. I advise the folks that I'm working with to get their books done. I guide them in how to use AI effectively to save time. It's not anything to be feared. It's a tool. And when used correctly, it's a wonderful tool. So to this point about being behind in life, we're dealing now with 20 somethings that are one, not so rigidly attached to a college degree, because even that changed. Can we talk about that? When I was growing up as a millennial, our generation was right at the cusp. Our generation was the one that saw the blurring of the line where college degrees are concerned. We grew up in a time when that mattered. It added credibility to your resume. However, by the time we reached our 30s, the college industry, if you will, was kind of a it was kind of a lesser return option. Given the amount that it costs for college tuition and the shift that we experienced in the economy by then, this is mid 2000s I'm talking about. Given the shift in the American and global economy by that point, college degrees were more of a financial burden than a financial and occupational advantage. So the lines started to blur, especially with the advent of online courses. People started to realize, like, well, if I can learn this from this coach over here for only $597, why do I need to pay 50,000 to sit in school for 4 years? This person's already learned it. They shortened the time because they've already experienced it and mastered it. They've done the thing, and it costs significantly less for me to go learn from them versus a piece of paper that likely doesn't hold as much weight as the experience from this coach over here who has done the thing. Because here's the other thing those of us who have gone through college have experienced. There are some folks in college who are professors and teachers that have not done the thing. They've learned it and learned how to teach it effectively. They have no real life experience in the thing. So many millennials and especially Gen Zs, because there's now a bevy of online courses. There's so many of them now. The market is saturated with them. And still, it is a multi-billion dollar earning industry. The coaching and learning industry is a multi-billion dollar industry still. You can look that up. You can look that up. People value online learning from people who have the experience in less time than going to a college and having to consume 4 years worth of learning. Or for the more specialized degrees, such as law or, a medical doctorate degree, those degrees are much longer. Now, to this day, those degrees are held in high regard. Please get your degrees if you want to be a doctor. Please get your degrees if you want to be a lawyer, a practicing attorney, board certified, all that. Like, please go get your degrees. Please pass the bar exam. Please do your certifications. Those things matter for those specialties. But for most occupations, it's simply a matter of developing the skill. And developing the skill is simply a matter of being guided by someone who has already done the work before. And I'm speaking as someone who has. I guide aspiring authors to get published because I've done it before. I'm an 8-time published author. I know the process and can guide people through it in much less time than they expect. I demystify the process because in this day and age, especially with the advent of AI, getting a book done is so much faster than people understand. It's so much faster, and it's not nearly as complicated as you may have been led to believe. Because in the same way that we might feel like we're behind in life, that's based on antiquated social conditioning. The preparation of a book and publishing of a book and the fact that it seems complicated and confusing is also rooted in the antiquated publishing process. Getting a book done back in the day was, first of all, it took forever because there was a lot of gatekeeping. If you watched last week's episode, I talked about the rejections, the amount of times many best-selling authors have been rejected, and they chose to persist and went on to blow up. Their books went on to blow up. They became career authors after that because of their perseverance. So if you feel like you're behind in life, I promise you you're not. I promise you you're not. If you're in your 40s right now, you're single, you're unmarried, and don't have kids, everybody in your life is likely asking you when that's going to happen. Number one, know within yourself that that is an unfair question for them to be asking you. They have no business asking you that. Let me say that to you right now. There's nothing wrong with you. If you have thus far chosen to be single, then that is your choice. They have no business asking you that because they're projecting their timetable onto yours. And then, as I like to share with my folks, whether coaching or with my family, anytime we're talking about news or anything like that, anytime we're talking about things we've heard, things we've learned, I always like to say, check the source. And we all do. Like, we all check our sources and we'll be like, yeah, no, we not going, it's all right. I saw this, but don't worry about it. Like, it's trash. It's not anything credible. Check your sources. If you feel like you're behind in life, what are your sources? What are you looking at? What are you basing that conclusion on? Are you basing it on the folks you follow on Instagram? Are you basing it on your connections on Facebook or your connections on LinkedIn? Are you basing it on folks on TikTok? Maybe you started a TikTok channel and it hasn't blown up in the way that you've expected, that you've heard other people have started TikTok channels and like you're not seeing the numbers that they're seeing. What are you basing your conclusion on that you're behind? If we're talking about the societal norms, let's be real. Here in the United States, the economy drastically shifted. Number one, our life expectancy drastically shifted. The reason some of those societal norms existed was that our life expectancy was significantly shorter. People were expected to die in their 40s, in their 50s. So it makes sense that by 20 you would have a set occupation, by 30 have a family, by 40 have your home, have your kids and be raising them so that you can then die in peace. You've lived a whole life, right? We're living to 100 plus now. Our life expectancy is to the point now where when we hear and read headlines of people dying at 65, our first reaction is, wow, they died young. Our life expectancy has shifted. Therefore, the societal norms and conditioning that make us think we're behind must also shift. We're now in a real estate market that is unstable. We're in an economic climate that is unstable. So folks in their 20s now are having identity crises, and older generations are looking at folks in their 20s like, what is wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with them. They're in an economy and a social setup that is not stable. The work from home situation also changed things. We ended up relationally warped because for 2 years we were in isolation. Some people were resilient after the quarantine got lifted and they went back outside just fine. There are some people for whom change is a bit difficult and a bit challenging. It takes a bit longer. And that quarantine hindered them. It hindered their patterns. It hindered their ability to establish new friendships. And we as human beings were meant to exist communally. We were meant to exist in relationship. The word, if you've been rocking with me for a while, that I like to use is interdependent. We exist to be interdependent. We're meant to complete and complement each other. So a 20 something that's trying to work in a remote work situation, not going into work every single day, that can be a challenge. It can be a challenge to establish new friendships when you're used to having a computer at your fingertips at all times. The convenience of that and the dopamine hits that come from that make it easier to remain isolated. So then there's a spiral that doesn't serve us. For those of us in our 40s, we're expected to, at the very least, have married once and had some kids. We're expected to have a set career, perhaps in our current economy, have a career and a side hustle, because that's become a norm. If that's something that you have not accomplished, if none of those boxes are checked for you, you may feel like you're behind. That's not true. You are where you are in your journey because God has you there, or God has allowed you to be there. Because sometimes we are where we are in our journey because of our own decision making. And God is still keeping you. You're still alive, you're still safe, you're still protected, you're still provided for, which means there is still time for you to accomplish that luxury item. There are still people that God has placed in your life to help you accomplish that luxury item, or person. If you're someone that doesn't, you're more of an introvert, you don't really like people, you don't really trust people, it could just be one person. But God has not set you where you are to be alone. He said it's not good for man to be alone. We're created to help each other. So no, it is not too late for you. To my women out there, this is especially a pressure for us. The whole being married and having kids thing. It's especially a pressure for us. Or perhaps at this point you're an empty nester and there's pressure on you, like, what are you going to do now? Like, oh my goodness, who am I without my kids? Who am I without my husband? If you are someone who is unfortunately a widow, or you've gone through the process of divorce and you were fully devoted to your spouse, and that divorce broke your heart in millions of pieces, you may be asking yourself that question. Who am I without my kids? Who am I without my spouse? Who am I if not a wife? And I love the way Mel Robbins framed it. She said, in a phase of your life like this, in your 40s, in your 50s, when things are new and different, it's time for you to explore again. You get the chance to do what you were doing in your 20s. In the same way, the 20s is basically a decade of exploration. It's us figuring out what to do. Jesse Itzler, who is a popular entrepreneur, powerful, and also married to Sarah Blakely, who's the founder of Spanx. Both of them are monster entrepreneurs. Like they're incredible in the business world. Jesse Itzler did a recent post on Facebook showing himself looking like the dorkiest 20 something. He looked crazy in that picture. Like his hair was blonde, like his curly blonde hair was tousled and some of it was falling in his face. He looked crazy. But his post said, in your 20s, this is the time to figure stuff out. Like, try everything, test everything, experiment with everything so that you can figure out what it is you truly enjoy in life. Don't pressure yourself. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Use this time to learn what lights you up. Use this time to learn what you're best at. And the same is true when you enter into your 50s or when you reach that age in life where your nest is empty. You get to rediscover your spouse. by that point. Because now y'all have all this free time. You're not having to base your life around your kids anymore. Mel said her marriage to Chris is the best it's ever been because they've learned to communicate with each other in new and more meaningful ways and to put away old habits, to unlearn some things. 50s is the age of rebirth. That empty nester phase is an age of rebirth. You get to revisit what you love or relearn what you love. Perhaps you forgot it. If you're a woman, I know you know what I'm talking about. Like, you have served others. You've done a phenomenal job for your employer. You've done a phenomenal job for your children. You've been a phenomenal mom to them. You've been a phenomenal wife. And at this point, you're like, okay, what now? This is the time to relearn what intrigues you, relearn what sparks your imagination. You're not too late. Some of the biggest names we know of in business, some of the longest lasting brands were started by people that launched those brands in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. You've likely heard some of these examples before. Samuel L. Jackson, he didn't blow up until he was in his 40s. Like, he didn't start acting until he was in his 40s. Vera Wang, she didn't blow up until she was past her midlife. Hello. And as of right now, Vera Wang is the name in designer dresses. Most wedding dresses. Like, her name is one of the favorites that's mentioned among wedding dress designers. Like, she is one of the names in fashion, a force to be reckoned with. And she is right now in her 70s. Don't worry about it. If you're thinking it's too late, I promise you it's not. You're listening to someone who is, as of this recording, 42 years old. I am just now entering into my entrepreneurship era, publicly speaking. I'd been freelancing for the last 10 years. Sole proprietorship, like just freelance writer all this time. Then became a reporter. So I am just now starting from the age of 41 and heading into the age of 42. Just now getting into entrepreneurship in the proper and public way, forming the LLC, creating programs and products and services. And I'm having a blast. Some may, wonder like, you probably should have started that decades ago. And I'll be honest with you, that is that nagging thought that's in the back of my mind. And I had to break free from that misconception. It's not too late. I am not behind in life at all. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. Because it is at this point that I have developed the language to be able to speak to the people God called me to serve. Had I tried this before now, I would have failed. I would have failed because I wouldn't be able to reach them properly. If my words are resonating with you now, it's because I learned the language to speak to you properly. If you're an author, I have what you need and can guide you to finish that book, whether it's your very first book or that next book that's been giving you a challenge. I can guide you. If you're someone who has a luxury item, even if it's not a book, and you think you're too late, I promise you you're not. Even for the things that are currently trending now, that curve has a lifespan. You can still join the wave. You can still join the wave. I shared a story a couple episodes back about the fact that I did get the idea to do reaction videos for anime shows and even TV series that I loved growing up. And I told myself that the market was already too saturated. Nobody wanted to hear that from me. They didn't know who I was. Who the heck is going to watch, like, decades later reaction videos for that kind of stuff. And as of 2024 and 2025, those delayed generation reaction videos are a whole thing. It is currently a wave. So if I had started it back in 2015 or 2016 when I first got the idea, I would already be among those that have millions of subscribers. And the wave is still going on. That's the beautiful news about that. That was 10 years ago. It is not too late. You are not behind in life. If you don't have the funds to get your luxury item done, you have friends. Do that resource inventory. Get clear on what's available to you right now, where you are. See with your own eyes the abundance of what you have, where you are right now. You'll be surprised. Like, oh, I forgot I knew this person. Like, I forgot they did that. Like, oh yeah, like I went to school for that. I learned that. I don't even use that anymore, but this is an option for me. You'll be surprised. Because even in my journey as a reporter, when I first connected with the news outlet I started working for, I was leaning into my writing skills, and that's what I was recruited for. I'm a great writer. I'm a great storyteller. However, as we began to iterate and upgrade ourselves to producing video content, obviously somebody was going to need to edit those videos. This kid has a film bachelor's degree from Full Sail University. I had a laptop that still had Final Cut Pro on it. I just hadn't used it in years. What did I do? I dusted off the software. I went to YouTube University and watched a few tutorial videos to get back on the bike. Because once you learn to ride a bike, you never truly forget how to ride one. Shout out to muscle memory, right? YouTube University, watch a few tutorials. I was back in my editing bag. And we were off to the races. And just with that, revisiting a skill that I already had and forgot about, we were able to elevate our business. As things progressed and we got into the pandemic, I then learned how to use streaming software because we were all at home and everybody was consuming content because they had nothing else better to do. So we had to pivot. I learned that. We elevated our company even further. And live streaming, even after the pandemic, became one of our primary sources of viewership and viewer engagement. Folks love that kind of stuff. It's not too late. You can still pick that luxury item back up and push forward. And because you're still alive, because you have breath in your body, you have to. There's a quote that says, procrastination is the arrogant assumption that God will give us time, the opportunity to do tomorrow what he gave us the opportunity to do today. Okay? You still have breath in your body. You still have your mind. You still have your being. It is not too late to do this. Whatever your luxury item is, it is not too late to do it. You are loved. And there are people waiting for you that haven't even met you yet, that are waiting to fall in love with you, that are waiting to fall in love with your luxury item because your luxury item is the thing they need. It's the thing they're waiting on. It's never too late. You are not behind. Do your resource inventory. Make sure you're clear on the things you want to do. Make sure you're clear on what your luxury item is and the steps needed to accomplish it. Get a who if you need to. Follow me on Instagram at Getting the Win Show and DM me community, and I can get you into mine if that's what you need, if that's the push you need to go forward. But do your resource inventory. That's your homework. Make sure you're clear on what you need to get that luxury item done. And if you need that help, join our community. Follow those steps I just said to join our community and get with one of us and we can walk you through that to get that done. Okay? Let's get that luxury item out into the world. If it's your book, we definitely especially need that because we're living in an age of information and media and there's a whole lot of noise. Your message was put on your heart by God. That needs to come out because somebody needs to hear that. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be nonfiction. Even if your book is fiction, the world needs that. There's some stories out there right now that are absolute trash because they're being written by AI. Your story that you've been given, that you've been working on organically, that's what's needed out here. Because we need content with a human soul attached to it. We need content with the sound of a human voice in it. We need you. We need what you know. We need your luxury item. And there are folks out there that cannot progress unless and until you put that out for them to get and access. Even if you're an introvert, you have no interest in meeting people, connecting with people, hashtag trauma response, I get it. The thing you put out is an extension of you. So they'll still be able to fall in love with you even if you're not interested in connecting with them directly. So that's all the more reason you need to get your luxury item out there. Okay? If that's your objection. Okay? But your resources are already there. The world is waiting for you. I, the procrastination bully, are waiting for you. And I'm gently pushing you forward because I know you can get it done. You are not behind no matter what anyone tells you, including yourself. You're not behind in life. The world has shifted and we have to shift with it, which is why we need each other. That's why it's important for us to be interdependent and connected. Somebody else out there has what you need. They know what you need. They fill your gap. That somebody might be me. I might know something that you need. So it's not too late. Connect with your network. Fill those gaps and get that luxury item done. Because the world cannot and will not become a better place unless and until you do that. The most confident minds will do what they're doing with no shame, even if what they're doing is either ill-willed or trash. So who are we with good, pure hearts and good intentions who want to change the world, who wake up desiring to do that? Who are we to withhold our luxury items from the world and from the people who need us? It's not too late for you. You can do this. You have me in your corner, at the very least. And that's a lot because I am connected to some incredible people. I have the privilege of knowing some incredible information. I have access to some incredible resources. I know I'm a resource, a very valuable one. So be sure to subscribe here at Getting the Win on YouTube. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Threads at Getting the Win Show. Okay. And if you want to join the community, follow me on Instagram at Getting the Win Show and DM me community, and I will get you into my Goal Getters community so we can get you moving forward towards your luxury item. Okay? It's not too late. It's never too late. You still have breath in your body. You can still move. You can still think. Even if you're someone who's in recovery right now, physically, even if you have a condition and you're in recovery, you still have resources around you that are ready to serve and help you. Whether that's software or people or skills or hard resources like a laptop or a tablet or a phone In some cases, a luxury item is done on a phone. Because as I said before, these are mini computers. Don't let that stop you. The world needs what you know. The world needs your story. The world needs your luxury item, whatever that looks like. Let's get it done. I love you. I hope you have a great and productive rest of your Wednesday and a great and productive rest of your week. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Peace.